true present is knowing that Garfield will live his 9 lives and will live them well. This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens. It's a big one, Jeff. It's a big week.
Ooh,
it's a very big week.
I'm excited.
Jeff, we got a radio signal, and it's from space.
These aliens?
Buddy, I think they's aliens.
Welcome to the First Contact future. We did it. We made contact. Am I packing my bags? Are they taking us? Are they beaming us up? What's happening?
God, I hope
Give me the lowdown.
I think they have a vaccine, and I think they can distribute it better than we can.
Are you telling me that
even though they're millions of light years away?
Are you telling me that 2020 has one last surprise in store for us, and that we ain't alone is the surprise?
Well, let me tell you what's going on. Now, you know that I'm going to go ahead and say that this is aliens, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
That's what I do, my
if
guy.
If not now, when? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They all might as well be real aliens, because I treat all alien contact as though it is real until I am explicitly 100% told that it is not.
You treat all radio contact as if it's aliens. I mean, you just FM, AM, it doesn't matter. You think it's all being beamed from aliens.
Sometimes I hook my phone up to the aux cable, to the lightning cable in the car, and it doesn't take, and the radio comes on instead of my phone and my soothing lo-fi hip hop. And the radio comes on, and I scream as though it was an alien speaking to me.
Yeah.
The radio just comes on, and I scream.
Yeah.
I'm so surprised.
You think that extraterrestrials are most interested in telling you the weather and traffic on the 5s and 10s? You know what I'm saying?
And for some reason, just trying to sell me like a really well-priced used car.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I am, of course, saying that this is real.
Okay.
100% real.
Well, if you're saying it, I'm in. That's all I needed was one other person to say it.
I mean, that's a consensus. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the year of our Lord 2020, that's a fucking quorum. We've got it. If 2 people think it, it's probably true.
So what is this radio signal? I mean, are we hearing sweet alien tunes? Are they beaming us their version of the golden record? What do we got here?
Well, so here's what we've got. The Parkes Radio Telescope in Australia. We've heard of the Parkes before. The Parkes Radio Telescope is the very famous telescope in the middle of Australia. You've seen the giant satellite dish.
Yeah.
A lot of things, like the last time we thought we had perhaps made radio contact with aliens, it was through the Parkes Telescope. This is a big boy. It's the big daddy. We like the Parkes Telescope.
Yeah.
And there's a program going on right now on the Parkes Telescope called Breakthrough Initiatives. The Breakthrough Initiatives are basically space science programs that are investigating big questions of life in the universe, right? And so Breakthrough Listen is this program. It's $100 million program, basically the most comprehensive search ever for evidence of technological civilizations in the universe. They put up big money. They're to find big prizes in the Parkes Telescope, right? And so last year, they heard something. They picked something up in 2019.
They didn't tell us? They just kept it to themselves?
Well, this is what's very interesting, Jeffrey. If I may call you Jeffrey, because I'm about to say something that's very serious.
That's how I know you're talking serious.
This information that I'm about to tell you was not released by Parkes. It was not released by the Breakthrough Listen. It was not released by anybody connected to the project. It was leaked to The Guardian.
Yes, it was, because they're trying to keep it under wraps, because they know these aliens.
They're trying to keep it under wraps. I'm clapping for emphasis.
Working. So we got a whistleblower, we got a leaker, we got a hero who says the world needs to know these aliens.
Aliens, we've heard it. So here's what we heard. We heard a signal from Proxima Centauri.
Yeah, I knew it would be
But
Proxima Centauri. I knew it.
You can just call it Proxima for short. That's what we call it usually.
Not PC.
You could call it PC. Like it's like you honestly like if you knew it like back in elementary school, you can get away with it.
Okay.
But you know what I mean? And it's not that Proxima gets mad. It's just that like you can yell PC 100 times, and if it's not in like one of 5 different voices, Proxima doesn't even know. It doesn't even register that you're talking about it. You know what I mean? Well, it's got to be in a specific voice.
Yeah, yeah. But if you're really serious, do you call it Proximary? I'm doing a Jeffrey callback there when you called me Jeffrey. Proximary.
I got it. Well, so Proxima, he said, moving on. It's a red dwarf star. Okay, it's so faint that even though it's the closest star to our sun, it's 4.2 light years away. And as I'm saying these things, as I'm saying these numbers, probably for a lot of you, a dim recollection is coming into your head. News from a couple years past are maybe popping into your head. It will all coalesce. I'm here to tell you that your instinct is correct and you have heard of this before.
Okay.
It's 4.2 light years away. Okay. It's not visible to the naked eye. You need a telescope to see it at all. It's part of a triple system. Ooh. Proxima Centauri orbits the binary star Alpha Centauri.
Yes, it does. Of course it does.
Yes, it does. Okay. Now, the reason why all of this sounds familiar to you is because of 2 planets that Proxima has orbiting it, Proxima B and C. And the reason you are remembering all of this is because back in 2016, we discovered Proxima B. Proxima B, we found, is roughly the same size as Earth.
Right.
Proxima B. Go ahead. You're about to say it.
It's in the Goldilocks zone.
It's the Goldilocks zone, baby. It's
so
in the Goldilocks zone.
A planet that could be like Earth, a planet that we think could actually have life on it. Now we're getting a signal from that direction?
We're getting a signal from that direction. Now, let me explain what this signal is. Because, look, as far as I'm concerned, they's aliens. But some of you who listen to this award-winning science podcast have not yet fully accepted into your heart that science is a feeling. And so you are going to want facts. You're going to want data. I understand. I don't agree with you, and I don't like you, but I understand. So there's an undergraduate student going over the observations that are coming from the Parkes Radio Telescope. And they see that there's a spike in energy at a very specific frequency, 982.002 megahertz. Now, that is a weird frequency for a star to emit. And stars emit light in a pretty broad range of frequencies. So a star could emit that frequency, but it's just so specifically 982.002. Like there was not a lot of wavering. It was a very narrow, very focused frequency. Okay.
Yeah.
So that in and of itself is weird, right? It was like, oh, that's pretty interesting. Okay. So the first thing you do in radio astronomy is you make sure that what you
student. If you're an undergraduate, you call a graduate student and you're like, I saw this, but it's really not for me to talk about. And
the grad student is like, why are you texting me at 2 a.m., Josh? You suck. I am so drunk right now, Josh.
No, I know. I had 2 questions. One is, what's up with this frequency? And 2 is, can you buy me beer?
Oh my God, Josh. You're so lame.
You can answer the questions in any order you want.
Josh, we're in Australia. The drinking age is like 16. You're so lame.
Yeah. It's not that I can't buy it for myself. It's that I don't have money.
I know you don't have money and you get nervous. I understand. You get very nervous going in and asking for beer.
Yeah.
You get mad asking for the devil's juice, but you don't have to ask for the devil's juice, Josh. You can just call it beer. Anyway, the frequency is really weird and it's probably aliens. I've got to get back to my keg stand. So this frequency is coming out. And the first thing you do is you want to make sure that what you're seeing is actually coming from the object that it seems to be coming from, right? You want to be sure. You look up at Proxima and you go, but is it really from Proxima? So they do this thing that's called nodding. And what they basically do, if you can imagine it, they basically just make the satellite dish nod. And the reason they do it is they're looking for what happens to the frequency when they move a little away from the object in different directions.
So it's sort of like,
right?
Like they're trying to narrow it in.
They're trying to narrow it in. Make sure, imagine, you're using the stud finder on your wall and you're looking for the light. You know?
Exactly. Stud finder. They're doing the stud finder of astrophysics.
Exactly. So they do the nodding. And what this student finds is, I nodded. And when I moved away from Proxima, the signal went away. And when I went back over Proxima, the signal came back. It's coming from Proxima.
It's coming from Proxima. I'm so excited. Okay, so then what? Now what? Can we decipher what the signal is?
So the next thing you have to do is you have to figure out whether it's an intelligence signal, right? And the fact that it's coming from this narrow frequency and it seems to be a pretty steady signal makes them think, yeah, this might be it. So what you do is you wait and you see if over time the frequency shifts a little bit, because if aliens are transmitting from a planet, the planet rotates.
Okay.
And you get a slight shift in the radio signal, like a Doppler effect thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So the signal changes just a little bit as like whatever, maybe their Parkes radio telescope is transmitting and they're turning, it's rotating away. And so you get a change in the signal. And
the only thing more dangerous than Australia is alien Australia.
Dude, if this is space Australia talking to regular Australia, like a cross between a Brit Marling movie and my nightmares, like I can't survive if it's space Australia. None of us can.
No. I mean, only Australians would survive space Australia.
Tamora Morrison will survive because he's used to being in that sort of space commonwealth. I know he's from New Zealand, but I think a regular New Zealander who pretends to be a space New Zealander could probably take out a space Australian. Does that make sense?
It makes absolute sense. It's the only logical progression that you go to. I think we could probably we'll get space Yahoo Serious. You think?
Wow. Is Yahoo Serious still alive, do you think?
Yeah, they just did there was just like a documentary on him just recently.
Why? What is going on with Yahoo Serious? Let's put a pin in this alien life thing. Forget about alien life. What's going on with Yahoo Serious?
He's got short hair now. He looks like a normal dude. I just watched a documentary on this. It might have been on YouTube, but it was like a half an hour documentary about like the something anniversary, 30 year, whatever it was, anniversary of
Young
Einstein. And it talked about, like how he was this mega star for about 15 minutes and like what he does now. And he like went to a film festival and introed the movie and talked about it. Like he's kind of bitter and a little reclusive at this point, because he got kind of screwed over by the whole situation. But he's still Yahoo Serious.
Okay.
That was his legally changed name.
Wow.
Yeah.
Huh. Look, if you haven't, if you haven't, concerned citizens, see if the movie Young Einstein is streaming. I remember all I remember about Young Einstein was he was trying to he split the atom by trying to do something with the bubbles in beer.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Because it was like he was supposed to be like this hilarious Australian riff on Einstein and what a genius is in Australia. I don't know. I was I was a youth. Serious.
He wrote, directed, produced, funded. Like it's like a one man. He was that movie. Like he created it from whole cloth.
You know what, guys? We're not going to talk anymore about this alien thing because I find this Yahoo Serious story so fascinating, and I really
gotta do the Yahoo Serious retrospective.
We really do. It's young Einstein and then that YouTube video that Jeff saw. So that's going to be the programming for our retrospective. So listen, we checked for this Doppler effect, the signal shift, and we saw the signal shift. It's there.
What else?
So far,
what other proof do we need?
So far, so aliens.
Yes.
But here's where,
which, by the way, is also the show that we're writing based on this.
right. So here's so aliens.
So aliens.
It's sort of like it. We're gonna do for what young Einstein sort of did for an Australian Einstein. We're gonna do for just some aliens. Just some aliens. Just some aliens.
Yeah.
Just normal dudes, but aliens.
If aliens meets That's So Raven, That's
what we're going for, really. We're deciding which one of them has the psychic powers and which one of them is going to be the horny ant. We haven't decided yet. Listen. Cooler heads than mine. People will call them cooler heads. People will call them smarter. People will call them more learned.
Yeah.
People with more scientific information are going to tell you some
conceivable way.
Yeah, they're going to tell you that. And they might be right, but this is what they're going to tell you. The problem with looking for a signal from intelligence is that there are signals from intelligent life everywhere. We're sending out signals. Phone carriers are sending out signals. Satellites are sending out signals. Military communications are sending out signals. They're all using radio to each other. And there's tons of stuff that's going to look exactly like the signal you're trying to detect. That's why. That's part.
Or somebody talking normally.
Yeah, and it's just was actually, it turned out to be people opening the door to the microwave in the kitchen in the break room of the park's observatory.
And that's not true. Is that true?
No, it was true. They would open the microwave. Amazing. And if they opened it before the oven had stopped, they had to push stop and then open the microwave. Because if they opened the microwave before they push stop, they would actually flood the dish with microwave signals. And the dish would be like, holy shit, I'm picking stuff up.
This is the problem with hiring Josh the undergrad to operate your multi-billion-dollar space satellite system, Josh needs a burrito every now and again. And there's only one way to get them, and that's by heating them up in the microwave.
That's the only way to do it. That's the only way to do it. They have an actual oven in the break room, but this idiot baby Frosh undergrad just doesn't know how to do it yet. He can't cook, and he refuses to learn. He's too intimidated. He finds everything so intimidating, and all I have to say to Josh is like, listen, nobody knows anything. You can't be afraid of failure. But you do have to listen when they tell you not to open the fucking microwave before you push stop. Because we've told you that the fucking thing thinks it's aliens, Josh.
Yeah. But how else do I know if my burrito's done?
When the timer goes off, Josh, and it beeps 3 times.
Yeah, but I got to check to make sure if I need to add time. I got to open it up and see if I need to add any time.
If you have to add time, you'll know after it beeps 3 times.
Yeah, but if I check early, then, I don't have to listen to that weird beep. I'm intimidated by the beep is what I'm saying.
I get it, Josh. So yeah, there's a lot of tests that the signal has to go through to make sure that it is a viable candidate for alien intelligence. And let's also say this. This information was leaked before any of those tests were done. Okay. Somebody went ahead and put this information out at exactly the time when, it seems like aliens. But there's been a lot of times that this stuff seems like aliens that we haven't known about because they don't release this information early because they don't want this shit happening.
Right. It hasn't been debunked yet.
It hasn't been debunked.
It's pre-bunked. It's pre-bunked.
It's pre-bunked. It's neither bunked nor debunked.
Yeah.
You have to wait. Pre-bunked is the worst kind.
Yeah.
Because it's still uncertainty.
it gets award-winning science podcasts all riled up, and we say things and maybe even sing little jingles prematurely is the problem.
Yeah. So look, here are some things that the smarties are saying. All right. Number one, they're reminding us of a lot of things. It could be like a slowly moving Earth satellite that happened to be near Proxima in the sky. That could have been it.
Yeah.
Proxima B definitely seems like it could have life, but like what's really wild is it's close to a particular, like, the star that Proxima Centauri is a flare star, which apparently means it floods its planetary system with UV and X-ray light. So over years of time, that will strip away a planet's atmosphere or just make the planet not conducive for life. So it would be interesting if Proxima B actually had life, because we're seeing some things that are saying no. And then there's the stuff that you and I have talked about before, the odds that the life exists at the same time, right?
Right. Yeah. That it evolved in the same timeline, that to send the signal that it would take for us to evolve to receive the signal. It's highly improbable, but
in billions of years, we've only existed for thousands.
Yeah.
Whoever's on Proxima, whatever's on Proxima would have to be existing in the same window of time. And they're the closest star to the sun to us, which is like, oh, gee, we were looking for life. And here it is. Like, it's the rom-com of looking for life. I was looking for love and it was right across from me all along. Right.
Yeah.
This is right. We were looking for life and it was right there at the closest star. Who would have thought? Yeah. It's like going back to your hometown and the only people that are still there from your high school are married because there was no one else for them to date.
Exactly. But you never know, because sometimes you just turn on the radio and that song is playing, and then that person is saying, "Hey, come look at me. Come look at me." And then you're sleepless in Seattle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a Meg Ryan. It could be a Meg Ryan.
Full Meg Ryan, Tom Hanks kind of situation. So what is the next step? What do we do? I want this information to be confirmed. Are we sending people? Are we sending information back? Are we sending probes? What are we sending? How do we find out? When do I pack my bags and leave Earth?
So everybody's saying, cool out. We've got to finish all these analyses. We've got to figure out also this frequency is just a single frequency. How do you send a message over one single frequency? Just talking changes frequencies. That's how radio works. So they're like, let's just be cool. We have to run checks to see if this isn't some satellite or some reflection of another signal. If this isn't an error, if this isn't somebody making a burrito, and then if it is a real signal that we picked up from that far out, we have to make sure that it is some sort of data encoded signal, that there actually is a message in it, because right now it doesn't look like there is. So there's a lot of analysis to be done, but it's definitely aliens, and you can tell everybody.
I mean, I think we can say, I like being the first to say it was aliens, so that everybody later on, when it's confirmed, can come back and be like, you guys were right about these aliens. And we're like,
people only remember who broke the news. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
You got to be first on the scene. People only know who broke the news. Was the news correct? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We were first.
Matter. Accuracy is second to first. Who's first?
Accuracy is the enemy of news.
2020. That is actually the motto of 2020.
Is the motto of 2020. Accuracy is the enemy of news.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think these aliens. Feel free to discuss this in the Discord. And hey, if you're somebody who has a little more knowledge about this sort of thing than we do, which is likely, very likely, we would love to hear from you in the Discord as well. You can find the link to the Discord and join it just by following us on Patreon. Patreon is a great way to support the show. It's the only way to support the show. I mean, it's the only monetary way to support the show.
Well, that's true.
Let's put it that way. And money is the best support of the show, if we're honest.
Yes. When we're honest, let's just say support the show with money if you can. If you can't, we know the times are hard. If you can't, there are other ways to support the show. You can tell folks about it. You can tweet about it. You can actually review it on your podcast listening app of choice. That's helpful. It's useful.
Yeah.
But money's
particularly
best.
the iTunes. The iTunes is the big one. But yeah, but we do, if you support us on Patreon, which is patreon.com/wehaveconcerns, we have tons of wonderful things for you, including early episodes, bonus audio, live hangouts with us and the rest of every the wonderful concerned citizens. And just the Discord is just a lovely place to hang out and chat. So
cool.
Go check it all out. Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns.
Speaking of that Discord, Anthony,
yes,
got a
Jeff.
story submitted by Mr. Rise, I think maybe Rise, Mr. Rise on the Discord. This is an Ars Technical article that caught my eye. And it caught my eye because the first sentence of this article, I will read you verbatim.
Okay.
It reads, quote, "Rats that learn to drive are more able to cope with stress." Period.
Rats that learn to drive are more able to cope with stress. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, as a statement, here's what I'll say. As a statement, the thesis of it makes sense to me, but the statement itself is nonsense, Jeff. It's nonsense.
It certainly begs some questions, does it not? It certainly prompts some further exploration of that topic.
Yes.
Because I know what you're thinking, Anthony. I know what you're thinking. Rats that learn to drive are more able to cope with stress? Because when I drive, I'm certainly stressed out. Yes, driving is very stressful.
Yeah, but think about being a teenage rat and feeling trapped like a you in a cage, and you have to get out in the middle of the night because your rat parents don't understand you, and you have 87 rat brothers and sisters, and you get into your little rat car and you just drive. It doesn't matter where you're driving to.
That's true.
Driving is freedom for a young teen rat.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Well, we're gonna circle back around to the stress issue, but I know what you're thinking, Anthony. You're thinking to yourself, rats that learn to drive
in this economy?
What are they driving in this economy? What could they possibly be driving?
It's probably a Corolla.
Just an affordable.
It's the number one selling car.
It's very reasonable.
Mathematically, they're probably driving a Corolla.
You're just going law of averages right now. Yeah. Well, it turns out a group of scientists are at it again. They've developed. These are scientists at the University of Richmond, led by Professor Kelly Lambert. Kelly Lambert and the team there at the University of Richmond have created what they're calling ROVs, which of course stands for rat
unusual
vehicles. Rat operated vehicles. Rat operated vehicles were constructed from robot car kits, the chassis and powertrain built from robot car kits. And then atop those parts, a transparent plastic food container provides the body of the car, perfect for rats to leap into and drive. But I know what you're thinking, Anthony. I know what you're thinking. Rats that can drive a car
in this economy?
Do they have little steering wheels and pedals?
Yeah. How do they control it? Oh, do they put electrodes into their brains?
Not into their brains. No, they just turn the rat body into a conductor. So what they built into these ROVs were a series of copper wires stretched across the opening cut out of the front of the bodywork. And there's an aluminum plate on the floor of the ROV. And when the rat stands on the plate and grabs the copper bar, it completes a circuit and the motor is engaged. And they've become a little rat driver.
Do they have to pull on the bar to turn it? Like, how do they know how to turn it?
They have 3 different little aluminum plates on the bottom of the car. One makes the car go straight, one makes the car turn left, and the other makes the car turn right. So they have three little
power
pressure
steering.
plates. It's got power steering. It's got rat powered steering is what it's got. RPS.
So these rats get in. The rats are conductive. When they touch the plate, it completes the circuit. Because it's using the bioelectricity that's inside the rat to complete the circuit. And the rat over time, because rats is smart, they learn what the three plates do and they drive. And where do they drive
I know what you're
to?
thinking, Anthony. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking rats that learn how to drive
in this economy.
How long could it possibly take a rat to learn how to drive? And how do you teach them? Well, it turns out 3 5-minute sessions a week for 8 weeks, and a rat can drive a car. That's all it takes.
Damn, it took me much longer.
Me too.
I got thrown out of driver's ed. That's a story for another time, but I did get thrown out of driver's ed.
Thrown out?
Yeah, it's a story for another time. But
they throw the car first, at least.
Well, it was about me. It was about me not slowing the car. So they give these rats little rat driver school. I hope it's comedy driving school.
Yeah, you don't want to bore a rat. You know?
No, the rats see little rat billboards for comedy traffic school.
Yeah, because if you got to take rat traffic school, you may as well laugh along the way. You know what I'm saying?
I took one of those comedy traffic schools too.
Me too.
And you go to like an Applebee's before they open, and they make you order food. Like they have a minimum, like it's a comedy club, and you have to like order, and it's literally just the guy giving the exact same thing he would give at a regular traffic school.
It's so
because they're not allowed to deviate from it.
Do they have those in other places than LA? Is that an LA centric thing?
It's not an LA centric thing. I did it in Orlando growing up. That's where I did mine. So I think it's a scam that is pervasive the whole country over at the very least. So they teach these rats to drive for what?
3 5-minute sessions a week for 8 weeks. What they did was...
But they do it for what?
For what?
Yeah, you do it for what? You teach a rat to drive for what?
To reduce their stress, man.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
So what they did was they put a treat, a delicious rat treat on this big flat surface. It was a contained area that they had built, closed off arena, they called it. And the goal was to drive to the tasty treat. And so 3 5-minute sessions a week for 8 weeks. By the end of it, rats could drive to the treat. In fact, they had 11 male rats. And I know what you're thinking, Anthony. You're thinking, rats who can drive a car in this economy? That's where you say this economy.
I thought maybe you had another 2 or 3 questions that you were going to tack on. I was going to put it in a more appropriate place.
All right. Are they in some sort of fraternity? Are they in some sort of rat frat? Well, you'd be right, Anthony.
That's where I'd go in this economy.
Okay. You're right. That's better. It would be better there. It turns out they built 2 different little rat frats. 5 of the male rats, they had 11 male rats. 5 of them lived in a large cage with multiple surface levels and objects to play with. So they had this sweet frat house.
Okay.
And the other 6 lived together in pairs in a standard laboratory rat cage.
Okay, so one was the fancy frat, like everybody's dad was like a big businessy type.
Yeah,
you were probably a legacy, and then the other one is just like the working class frat where they're scrappy. They had to create it themselves, and like maybe at the end of the year they're going to show those fucking snooty rats what's up.
Well, it turns out the opposite was true. Both of the groups of rats learned how to drive the car. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. It all took just 3 5-minute sessions a week for 8 weeks. But it turns out the frat rats, the ones that had all the extra cool things to do, were much more interested in driving the car, even when you took away the tasty treat. When they had no reward, the frat rats still hopped in the car and took joyrides around the arena, even when there was no treat to be found.
So in both cages, or
no, they didn't. The car didn't have a cage. They would take the rats.
No,
and put
but
them
I
in
mean,
this
like,
arena.
right, but like, so, but there were two. There were rats in the nice frat and rats in the working class frat.
Yeah,
and they were both likely to just drive.
No, the fancy rats, the rats that had the fancy frat, were much more likely to continue driving when there was no reward. The other rats were just scraping to do whatever it took to get some food. The fancy rats were like, you know what? This could be fun. We have other fun stuff. This could be fun. We'll do the fun thing. We'll just drive. We'll just joyride, as frat rats do.
Yeah. So what we've learned here is that even if the working class is given a tiny bit of happiness, they cannot partake in that happiness because they are worried about the rest of their terrible life. Whereas like the wealthy that already have everything will find even more time to slack off if given the opportunity.
Yes, that is what we've learned. And then what happened was, after that, the researchers collected rat droppings from all of these cool rats that were they're just driving around, pooping out the side of the car. And they collected the rat droppings and they searched for 2 different hormones that we test in animals to determine whether they are stressed out or not. One is corticosterone.
Yep.
And the other is dihydropiastrozone. Yeah, piastrozone. I don't know. I butchered that one, but it's a pair of
you remember the famous Italian soccer player? Piastrozone.
Dihydropiandrosterone. Yeah, I'm sure that's wrong.
Anyway, yeah, okay.
Award-winning science show. It changed. The pattern changed with these animals in the levels of these hormones, consistent with emotional resilience. So basically, they seemed less stressed out the more they drove, and that was consistent regardless of which habitat they lived in. So it didn't matter if they were hanging out in the cool frat house or living in the lab rat cage. If they learned to drive and got to drive, their stress went down.
That's interesting. So the rats that didn't have as comfy a life were more likely to drive specifically to get a treat, to get food, to survive. But even when they drove on those rare occasions when there was no treat to survive, driving still calmed them down.
Yeah.
Whereas the wealthy rats, it did the same thing for them. They just calmed down.
Exactly.
They were a little more calm. Okay.
The rats, regardless of their living situation, if they drove, they chilled the fuck out.
But they don't have to deal with rat traffic, and they don't have to deal with
that's the truth. Yeah. No
with
rat
like
traffic
laws and stuff like that. If every drive I took was just a sweet joyride wherever I wanted to go, with no one else in my way. I mean, because essentially what they're doing, Jeff, is they're going like rat mudding.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're taking the ATVs
rat
out.
Dune buggies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They're taking the dune buggies or the ATVs out on the open land. Like maybe they've got a friend like whose family owns like 10 acres in the middle of nowhere, and they just fucking go nuts. Like they're not driving to like get a rat COVID test and then they have to stop by the rat post office and shit. Like they don't have to do that.
There's no rat errands happening. This is not rat commute time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. If my stress levels would be far lower if, number one, somebody always maintained my car when I wasn't thinking about it and made sure that it was always working.
If
and
giant
then
hands came down out of the sky and just plucked it up and fixed it when it needed.
Baby, that would phase me exactly once. I would be freaked out exactly once. But the first time the giant hands dropped the car down and it worked better than I left it, I'd be like, I love me these giant hands, and I am not going to question my existence at all. What am I living in some sort of Twilight Zone episode? It doesn't fucking matter because my car is fixed.
Yeah.
And I got nowhere to be except where I want to be because I'm just joyriding. And also, I'm the only one of 2 cars that exist. Like all of this would make me a lot less stressed as well. But what do we get from this? What is our takeaway?
Well, I think, the article says they're reluctant to draw any specific conclusions as to the animal's emotional
They just wanted
state.
They just wanted a couple hundred grand to make some mouse cars.
Mouse cars. They wanted, they wanted the mouse races.
We got to figure out a way to get money to just build rat cars. That's all. Like one of them just got real high and was like two of them were real high and one dared the other. It's like, I bet. Like they basically pulled like random stuff out of a hat. They each dumped stuff in a hat. It's like rat automobiles, and like whatever they pulled out, they had to get funding for. Like,
that's what scientists do. That's called grant submissions.
Yeah, can you write a grant proposal based on these two random things that you pull out of the hat? And this one guy was like, cars and rats. It's like, all right, rats are driving cars.
Yeah, that's called scientist exploding kittens game. That's
what it is.
They actually, what happened was they got really stoned, and one was like, what I'm really sick of? The rat race. And the other one's like, wait, did you say rat race?
And then they rented the movie with Breckin Meyer, and they loved it just as much as they did back in the day.
Yeah.
They had no notes for it.
No notes. I think this is a beautiful expression of like mammals like speed, right? We all want to go faster than we can go. I think we just all enjoy it.
Yeah. I think we like speed. I think we like novelty, right?
Yeah.
I think we like mastery over something when it's not required for survival, right? Like you don't need to play the guitar or rock climb to survive these days, right? Like you're not making a living playing the guitar. You're not a court musician. You're not climbing rocks to get away from predators or to find food on high cliffs. But mastery over guitar and mastery over rock climbing feels good because it's low stakes. Yeah. And you're right. Like speed is fun. Like it's fun to go fast. It's fun to be able to travel in ways that we are not built to travel on our own.
Yeah.
Our body can fix.
You are spot on about where they hope these studies lead, and that is understanding how complex activities can actually help our neuropsychology, right? So the idea being you had the example of learning the guitar or mountain climbing. It's these ideas that maybe we have something built in our brains as mammals that there's actually a calming factor in performing something that takes concentration. And I think that's useful, and I think could be applied in a number of fields. Certainly we are all looking in this year of 2020 to find ways to reduce our stress. I don't think driving per se, but I think the application is to doing something that requires concentration, learning, and focus.
Yeah. I think the key there is it's got to be something that you don't feel is required for your safety, security, well-being, right? Like, because I do find that I think when you get too focused in on things that make you better in like your career, like that's great. And especially if you love your career, and you should always do that. You should always strive to be better. But when you become too focused in one area, everything that you used to do that gave you joy connected to your career is then tied to the stress of survival, right? And that's why it's like, well, out of left field, I'm going to learn how to garden. I'm going to make bread. I'm going to do all of this stuff is like, oh, I can get good at something and there are just no fucking stakes. Nobody's going to like, my rent is not affected. Like my boss is not going to come in and yell at me for like, you know what I mean? It's like, this is not something
There's no pressure.
I need.
There's no deadline. It's just something where I can apply myself, and it's meditative. I think that is another layer of it is this getting lost in the doing.
It's the flow state, right? Like the flow state is such a big deal. And if y'all haven't read the book about like, it's just called Flow, and it's a brilliant book, and it's about that. It's about the
Progressive.
We are meant to we're meant to learn. We're learning machines, and we're meant to kind of grow in that way. And the more you operate at the top of your sort of intellect and physical limits, the happier you are, and the better your body and mind work. Because we're meant to. We're a machine. We're a machine. We're a tool. We're meant to be used. You know, you leave a car sitting around. You leave a car sitting around, even a rat car, as simple as a rat car is, it's not going to drive as well the next time you drive it. You got to drive that rat car. Your body is a rat
drive
car.
That rat car.
Your mind is a rat car, and you demand to be driven.
I've been telling people my mind is a rat car for years, and nobody has really understood what I meant. But now, finally, I think there's some context.
That was a Smashing Pumpkins song, right? That's how it started. My mind is a rat car.
My mind is a rat car.
There it is. You know, how are you, concerned citizens, in this hell year, which is coming to an end? Thank goodness. How have you been, trying to operate at top of your game? How have you been trying to sort of keep yourself occupied in a way that is non-stressful? You can let us know on Twitter. I'm at @Carboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
You can also talk to us about it in the Discord. Once again, Discord's a great place to be, and it helps the show for just $1 or more a month. Head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns and let us know what you're doing.
What's your rat car? What's your equivalent to the rat car?
Hey, what's your rat car? I want that to be the next big productivity book.
Yeah.
Like getting things
Where's
done
my
or learning
cheese?
the secret. Where's my cheese? What's your rat car? I want executives to seriously ask that in interviews.
Yeah.
Hey, what makes you go, man? What's your rat car?
I'm glad you came in here today, Tim. I just have one question for you. If you want to really progress in this company, what's your rat car?
Hey, what's your rat car? Okay, goodbye.